All right, let's dive right into a question that so many people have. How in the world do you apply for an Australian student visa when you're already here in the country? The rules can feel a little confusing, but don't worry. We're going to break down all the official government info to make it super clear. Let's get into it.
So, this is the big one, right? You're in Australia, maybe your plans have changed, or you want to keep studying, and you're thinking, can I just apply from here, or do I have to leave the country first? It's the number one question. And here's the thing, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It all, and I mean all, comes down to the specific visa you're on at this very moment. That one piece of information is the key to everything. Okay, so the main rule of thumb is this. To apply for a student visa while you're onshore, you generally need to be holding what's called a substantive visa. We're going to define that word for word in just a minute, but for now, just think of it as the main key that unlocks this whole process.
But, and you knew there was going to be a but, right? It's not always that simple. Even if you do have a substantive visa, it might be one of a handful of specific types that actually blocks you from applying. This is where paying attention to the details is absolutely critical.
So let's get right to it. This is the exception list. If your current visa shows up on the next few slides, then the normal path to applying from within Australia is probably closed to you. So have a good look and see if your visa is on this list.
Okay, first up, we've got a batch of work, graduate, and diplomatic visas. Now, the one that really jumps out here is the temporary graduate visa, the subclass 485. That one catches a lot of people by surprise, so definitely take note of that. And you'll see for the diplomatic visa, it's just for the main person holding it.
Next up, we've got the visitor and travel visas. This group here, the 600, 601, and 651, covers a massive number of people visiting Australia. And the logic is pretty simple. These visas are for tourism or really short visits, so the rules are written to stop them from being used as a stepping stone to a student visa from inside the country.
And finally, here's a few special purpose visas. You've got the medical treatment visa, the transit visa, and the maritime crew visa. Just like their names suggest, they're given for very specific reasons that have nothing to do with studying, so it makes sense that they're on the exclusion list too.
So, what happens now? What if you just saw your visa on that list? Or what if your last substantive visa has already run out? Is that it? Is it game over? Well, not always. There's one more little pathway we need to talk about. This is what I like to call the exception to the exception. For a very specific group of people, this little 28-day window can pop open, giving you one last shot to apply, even if you don't hold a substantive visa anymore. Let's see how it works.
It's basically a two-step trigger. First, something specific has to happen. Either your old student visa or one of those special purpose or dependent diplomatic visas has to end, or the tribunal has to overturn a visa cancellation. The moment one of those things happens, step 2 kicks in. A clock starts ticking. You get exactly 28 days to submit your new student visa application. Not 29 days, 28.
Now this is huge. The government regulations are basically saying that for most people, this 28-day window is a one-time only deal. If you've already used this kind of provision in the past to get a visa, you probably can't use it again. The message is clear. If you get this chance, you have to make it count. Okay, we've been using this term substantive visa a lot, so let's pause and make sure we're all on the same page. Really understanding what this means is the foundation for figuring out if you're eligible.
Honestly, it's way simpler than it sounds. A substantive visa is pretty much any visa that lets you stay in Australia for a set purpose, like working, or a holiday, or visiting family. It's almost every visa except for a few very specific types.
This makes it crystal clear. On the left, you've got your substantive visas. That's most of them. But it's that column on the right you really need to see. And the big one there, the one that trips up so many people, is the bridging visa. It's so important to remember this. Holding a bridging visa does not mean you hold a substantive visa.
Whew, okay. After all those rules, lists, and special windows, what does it all mean for you? Let's boil it down into a super simple checklist so you know exactly what your next move should be.
Here is your game plan. Step 1, find out the subclass number of the visa you're on right now. Step 2, take that number and check it against that exception list we just went through. Step 3, if your visa is not on the list and it's still valid, you're probably good to go. And step 4, if it is on the list or it's recently expired, you need to find out right away if that special 28-day rule could be an option for you.
So there you have it. The rules are definitely complex, but they are laid out pretty clearly. Now you've got the framework to figure out your own situation.
So the only real question left is the one on your screen. Now that you know the rule, where does your current visa stand? Thanks for joining us.